Prep Day. We're just going to quickly touch on a bunch of stuff. Hopefully you guys have some questions. As you all know, Sean is very informative, and almost to a fault. But trust me, I understand and I get it, because when you get to Kodiak, it's really nice to know exactly what's going on. How many times have you gone on a trip or gone and done something, you show up and you're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. So Sean really likes that everybody hits the ground running, ready, prepared with all their gear. They know what's happening as far as the schedules. And as far as schedule goes, I'll probably start with that really quick. I've prepared all of your halibut charters. I've prepared all your flights to and from a Fognac. Is everybody going to a Fognac? Yeah. Everybody's taking the flight? Okay, good. Yeah, I should know that because I booked everyone. So I don't have the exact schedule with me, but flights will go out on Monday and Wednesday afternoons. So we have usually 2 groups going at a time. So either your group's gonna fly very first thing Monday and then you'll charter on Thursday, or you will go on your charter on Monday and you'll fly out Wednesday through Friday. Does that make sense? Okay. That's really all you need to know about that.
On the Fognac, how close does the plane drop us off? So
About 15 feet.
okay, I said we don't have to walk a mile like we did last year.
Nope, literally the plane pulls right up to the cabin.
Cool.
And we unload our stuff right there on the beach.
The walking happens later.
The walking happens later, and you know, you can walk as much as you want to walk. For those of you that say, walking's an issue, well, guess what? We can slow down, we can wait for the tide to come up, and we can take that boat. We have an inflatable with a 10-horse Honda on it, and you can take that inflatable in on high tide or on the upcoming tide, and you can get right to the best fishing holes on the boat. So don't fret, but there is some walking involved, but you only have to do as much as you feel comfortable with. So, okay, everybody's got their packing lists. We're not going to go over that. It's on the website. You got it in your hands. Does anybody have any questions regarding items on the packing list? As far as, these are the type of questions you get. What type of waders should I be getting? What weight fly rod? I'm hoping most of you have your waders and your fly rods by now. Any questions regarding that stuff?
How many rods would you bring? Just one fly rod?
Bring one. Bring one. We have backups. And typically we keep, if we're fishing around Kodiak where we'll have the van within, a couple minute walk, we'll usually keep 1 or 2 rods as backups in the van if something happens. And then when we fly out to a Fognac, we will also take 1 or 2 backup rods. And we have that cabin rented for like a month. So we just take stuff over there the first time. So in the cabin, we always have backups.
Do you have travel with a fly rod and a spinning rod? Or just...
A lot of people do. You don't have to, but a lot of guys do. Hopefully all your fly rods guys have cases like this. This makes it really nice, especially in the plains, because I'll tell you right now, those guys they're used to traveling with rods, don't get me wrong. But if you have this, there's a lot higher likelihood your rod's coming out of the plane unbroken. You know what I mean? And that leads me to the topic of preparing for the flight. Break your stuff down. A lot of guys show up that morning, and they've got all their stuff, and they're like, you got to take your whole rod apart. So when we fly, everything has to be broken down.
Just carry on a rod. Can you carry that on a rod in a backpack or something?
Yes. Let's just keep going with that. So that was kind of toward the float planes, but when you're flying to Alaska on Alaska Airlines, I carry a backpack and I strap my fly rods right to the side. And that's they don't consider it a carry-on for each one as long as it's one cohesive unit.
Plus it'll fit in the overhead.
Yep, and it'll fit in the overhead.
I've never had them tell me I couldn't bring one when I was carrying my rod separate.
Yeah, well, and Alaska Airlines is so good about it.
Yeah.
This is what they do. They know who their clientele is, and they're not going to hit you on a fly rod.
But you have to pack your hooks in your luggage.
Yes.
You don't try to take your flies in the carry-on because they don't like that. They want
Correct.
it in the luggage.
Yeah, since old 9/11 stuff, they're pretty sticklers about sticky stuff. Hooks are quite sticky.
I
so.
carry on my rods and my reels, so I want to have
I do
all that
too.
with me.
There's certain items that I'm like, ooh, if I lose my luggage completely, I can run to Big Ray's and I can buy a pair of waders and a pair of cheap boots or something like that. But I want my fly rods. So yeah, fly rods and reels go with me everywhere. So that's just me, but sounds like Gary's the same way. While we're on the topic, any other questions regarding airplanes? Okay. Shipping fish home on airplanes. You guys are each responsible for your own fish processing, which comes out, last year is about $160 a box. I think it was just a little over $3 a pound for processing. Okay. I would say on average, most of our guys go home with at least one box. A lot of times you're going home with two. If you have a really good day out in the ocean, you catch all your halibut, you get into a bunch of king salmon, you get into a bunch of everything, you'll almost fill a box just one day on the ocean. So keep that in mind as far as shipping costs. Now you're gonna also be putting these on the airplane. They go on as additional luggage. So it's just you just follow the luggage fee.
That third, if you have 3 bags, that third is $150, you said.
The third gets expensive.
If you have an Alaska airline card, is it the same or is it cheaper?
Did you hear that? Did you get a lot? Sean always pushes people to get the Alaska airline card. Has any of you done that yet? I have it. Guys, get it and cancel it if you don't want it. But the perks of flying up there with luggage are really good. They're really good. And on top of that, I think right now, last time I saw it, it was like a 60,000 mile sign-on bonus if you spend $2,500 in the first month. Put all your bills on it in the first month. Get your free flight, get your free luggage, cancel the card. I don't care. But it's actually a pretty good perk there. If that interests you.
Do you remember what it is if you have the card? What it costs for baggage?
First 1 or 2 is free.
Yeah.
But then you're bumped up in the cycle. Does that make sense? Your
Yeah.
third would be charged as like the second.
Yeah.
So you're saving quite a bit of money. But okay, back on track here. So packing, lesson gear. We went.
Yeah, right.
Go for it.
Licenses and stamps.
Okay, perfect. Let's go for it. Licenses and stamps. Get them right now. Get on the ADFG website or app on your phone, or you can go to the Alaska Department of Fish and Game website. Non-resident 1 week fishing license.
1 week.
1 week. Start it on the Sunday you arrive, and you'll be fishing through Saturday. Well, you'll be flying out the next Saturday, so that'll give you more than enough time. A lot of guys, if you hit the ground running, a lot of guys like to hit the house, drop your stuff, grab a fly rod, and hit a river that very first night. And I'm okay with that. But some guys are just so beat from the flight that they just want to go grab a bite to eat and get some sleep that first night. Yeah. Yeah, Paul.
The kings you don't want to get until the day of.
Correct.
Then
Yeah.
you get on the boat. You can't buy them on the boat anymore, right?
You cannot buy them on the boat anymore, from what I understand. Maybe I should talk to Riley. We used to do that a lot, but even if it is allowed, I'll reach out to Chris, which is the owner of Kodiak Island Charters. We've become very close with them. My son works for him. I'll ask him flat out, hey, you catching kings? If he says yes, then we'll get on our phones, get on our apps, or we can run down to Big Ray's and buy a king salmon stamp, which is $10 for the day.
Now, the day you're talking about starting your fishing license, be
We're leaving the
the
15th.
15th, so,
Yeah, do it the day you fly in.
okay, so the 15th. Okay.
Yep, do it the day you fly in.
So there's an app you download
Yeah.
to buy these licenses?
ADFG.
ADF.
ADFG is the app. And it's pretty simple. Get in there and create an account. You can get all your stuff
Just
right.
7-day license, right?
7-day license, non-resident.
Randy, did you cover stamps though? Did you say buy the stamp before we go?
No, buy the stamp when we get there.
Yeah.
Just get your regular 7-day ahead of time. Yeah.
Okay, what about the fog net?
Yeah, Fognac, we are on. We're no longer fishing on reservation lands. Remember that situation?
Yes, yes.
This whole entire thing is within a state
So
park.
that state, that one.
We're good to go.
Good,
We
covered
no
all
longer
this
have to
time.
worry about that.
Good.
Good point, Randy, because Randy's talking about previously we used to go to a river called Litnick. Great river, it's super fun, but the river was within one of the local native tribes. So we would have to buy a native license, which was like $75 for a day. So no, this is much better.
So now
Gary,
you
come
really
on
need
over
a
here.
license.
Guys, come on over here. Let's go through a few things here. Put it on camera and just talk to you guys about what we got. I'm gonna set this
Yeah,
here.
well, it's only $10. We bought ours and then we did one.
What do you guys think the most important item is on this table? I'll hint, it's not even on the table, it's in my hands right now.
Glasses.
Sunglasses. When it comes to gear, you guys, you have to have good sunglasses. And they have to be polarized.
Polarized.
Do not go buy cheap $3 Walmart sunglasses and think that you're gonna be good to go. Sometimes these fish are down deep. Your polarization helps you see through the water, but most importantly, see these big weights on these hooks? When you've got a 20-pound salmon on and you're pulling on that thing and that hook gives way, where's it coming? Eye protection, okay? Safety is the most important thing. You're probably gonna get hooked with hooks. You're probably gonna get cut up and bruised, but it is what it is. Your eyes cannot recover.
And if you use readers when you read, get sunglasses with readers
Yeah, I
on
know
it.
Sean has those like quadruple focals, man. He's got all sorts of layers in there.
That big?
He has to look left to tie a hook. He has to look right for the long distance. No, but yeah, make sure you bring what you need to protect your eyes. If you do have some sunglasses that have some lighter lenses, 75% of the time in Alaska, it's raining or it's cloudy. So if you have really, really dark sunglasses, you have a tendency to want to keep taking them off because it's so dark. I like to carry 2 different pairs, but that's just me. I've been up there in Kodiak in September when it was 70 degrees and I'm fishing in t-shirt, and my wife was at home here in Manila shoveling 12 inches of snow. She was not happy. She was like, "You're in Alaska, you're the one supposed to be dealing with snow." But I've also seen snow in Kodiak. So September can be pretty wild as far as its weather swinging. All right, start down here. Good raincoat. This one's Gore-Tex. If you want to buy a really nice coat, go for it. You don't have to go as nice as this. I think I bought this for a couple $100 from Cabela's like 10 years ago. Still works great. You can go to Walmart, you can buy a Frog Tog, you can buy basic and simple if you want, but you need to have a raincoat.
Amazon has pretty good ones for what we pay 70.
You just
For
need,
really good raincoat.
even when it's not raining, and you just get that dampness, it just cuts into you guys, and by the end of the day, you'll realize you're shaking and shivering because you're just cold. You've got to have a raincoat.
And if you fall in,
That
you
one's
don't
lined
have-
too, isn't it?
Yes, and this one's got a little bit of extra insulation. This is a nice one. I bring like 3 different raincoats. I'm kind of crazy about it. This is a question I thought, a lot of guys ask this every year and I've never shown them. This is what I wear under my waders. These things are about 14 years old. My straps that go underneath my ankles are all worn out. It's just a pair of fleece lined deals. The hook hooks on your pants, so when you pull your waders on, your pants aren't sliding up to your, you know what I mean? That's all I wear, okay? That with my waders and a nice pair of wool socks, and you're good to go, okay?
See, I wear thermal underwear. I got some Hurley, I think.
Yeah, just don't wear jeans.
Yeah.
You don't want to wear jeans underneath your waders. You want stuff, if it bunches and you get hot spots down in your ankles and stuff, Get something warm but thin, and super comfortable, because you're gonna live in your waders. Okay. Speaking of waders, here's mine. I'm really fond of these Reddingtons. They're the Sonic Pros or something crazy like that. Anyway, they still smell like silver salmon. I just put them away when I go home, and I look at them later. Neoprene booties. Okay, I highly suggest you go for the neoprene booties with boots. I've seen guys show up with the all-in-ones that you get off Amazon. You want to talk about hot spots? Those things are not comfortable on your ankles. I'm not asking you to spend $1 million, because I get it. This trip, we really try to keep it from being uber expensive on the scale of what Alaska is. We still understand that it's not cheap, but go for the neoprene booties. Those also offer good insulation and a good set of boots.
And no felt on your boots.
Correct. No felt bottoms. These ones, this is a Vibram sole. I really like these boots because they come off. So when these wear out, I can buy a new set and slide them on, and I'm good to go. So anyway, these are the Corker's Dark Horse is what these ones are, if you're interested. And you might ask, why no felt? Because felt transports microorganisms. In Alaska, well, there's some buskin sand probably. A little bit of Alaska here for us.
Can I make a comment about the neoprene boots?
Yes.
Make sure that every time you put them on and take them off, that you're getting all of the sand and little pebbles off of them and out of your boots if any gets in there. Always use your guards, because that'll put a hole in your bottom of your
Exactly.
boot faster than anything.
If you have a little low spot in a boot where your big toe sits, you'll start wearing a hole. It'll act like sandpaper. Great point, Gary. Thank you. And then, you guys see these?
Gotta have those down.
When you put your boots on, you then roll that over, and this little hook, most of them will have them, hooks to the lower part of your laces. And it's a sand guard is what it is. It keeps sediment and stuff from getting down inside your boots. Any other questions regarding that stuff? Okay. I like to have some neck gaiters. Sometimes, if anything, just to keep the sun off your neck. But when the bugs get bad, which don't worry too much about bugs. We've had a few times where they get bad, but more often than not, we really don't have that many bugs.
What time of season do you usually have the bugs worse? Early or late?
Music. Early.
Like in August
Yes.
when we're going?
Yes.
A bug
I've never-
net, just a little
we
line
better
you
take
can
some.
put in your pocket.
That was my next point. This is good on hey, there's a couple bugs bugging me. I'm gonna put it over my face just to protect. But there are times when the bugs get bad. Bring a head net. Ben's has it's a little orange package. They make a really nice head net that's better than the $3 one you pick up at Army General.
Yeah, that's all you
Surplus.
really need anyway.
Yeah, it's not
No big deal.
not that important.
What did you say that one was?
It's called Ben's.
You buy that on Amazon?
Oh yeah, I'm sure you can.
Ben's.
Rods, we talked about this. Rod tubes, they just protect your rods. These are the two I bring. Anybody have any questions regarding rods?
Now, the rod tube that has the reel on the bottom, there's okay?
Yep, those are great too. Yeah, they'll
'Cause that
take
keeps-
anything.
Okay.
Where do you carry your reel?
I just throw my reel in my backpack.
And then my rod cage is a little longer. Is that gonna be a problem?
No.
I think as long as you're under 4 foot.
I've seen guys put 2-piece rods in there. You've been on an airplane. You know how long the overhead is. They don't care.
Or you can sit like this.
This, you know what? I said something about the most important product on this table. This actually might be it right here. Why do we wear belts on our waders, Tim?
In case you fall down.
In case you fall down. You were there that day,
I
right?
fell in.
Were you there the day the guy? Man, it feels like it was that day. Were you there? Okay, Paul was there. So it was maybe the week after you guys were there, Randy. So guys, this is your wading belt, okay? It goes over top of your waders, and you cinch this thing down, because heaven forbid you fall in. Trust me, you're gonna get wet. That's just the nature of what we do. But if you fall in and you've got these loose waders around you and water starts coming over the top of this, you're gonna fill with water and it becomes very, very difficult to move, okay? Your wading belt is as much as I use it for function to hold some tools, it's a major safety measure, okay? We had one guy, when we're fishing in areas with rising tide, which we do a lot, pay attention to the tides, okay? You'll be standing there, you guys, and you'll see those salmon coming in, and you're just going at it and going at it. The water's at your ankles. Before you freaking know it, the water's at your waist. And before you know it, water's up to your belly. And this is what happened with this one guy. Tell him about it, Paul.
Well, I'm gonna say just on my own. Over on the Litnick we were fishing, and it was great. Action was fun. And the worst part is that river, when it's down low, those tides are 12, 14 feet. When it's down low, it's cutting down into that sand and the dirt. And where I'm fishing, I'm great, but I was that far from the top of my waders, and I'm going, oh crap, where are the holes that I have to get across? And I was, I was a little
And if
worried.
you're on the
and I
wrong
was cleared
side of
up.
the
Everyone
river-
else was down, and so you got to pay attention. Try and keep someone close to you.
Yeah, and if you're on the wrong side of the river, and you're like, well, everyone's over there, the plane's over there, I gotta get over there. So what do you have to do? You gotta hike way up above the tide.
The part of
Big
it
deal.
getting away from you when you're in the thick of it, it happens real quick.
We had a guy on the Litnick that went across the river, and we were all on this side, and he fell in and he filled up, and
Was
he
that-
would have drowned if
That was the day.
that was Mark Bench.
Bench.
If
Yes.
we hadn't had, I mean, I was right here.
You were there, okay.
And Mark ran around the top because it was too deep for
Guys,
me to
this
get
guy,
across.
this guy slipped and fell and went underneath 3 times. He was an older gentleman, and he went under to the point, and you could see he was trying, and I was from
Were you
here to
there?
that tree from the guy. I couldn't go though because that hole ended up being 15 feet
I
deep.
couldn't go either because I had a deep hole in
So
front
I'm
of me.
literally watching the guy 30 feet in front of me drowning, and Mark was across, and he threw his
Mark
stuff.
was in the skinny
And
part.
he just took off sprinting and finally got to that guy and grabbed him and ripped him out of the water. I mean, it was a very, very serious situation. So let's be really smart and just keep an eye out for each other.
You're mainly on the sand, right?
There are some areas that are a little rocky.
Although, it's not like the Provo way, but it looks
Yeah. If you feel like you're not real sure-footed, I highly suggest a walking stick. It helps a lot.
See what happened to me, we was right on the end of the chum run, and then the whole bottom of the river was just full of dead fish.
Yeah, a lot of
And
times you'll
they
step
are
on those fish and they're
And that's
snake.
what happened to me.
So on my waist belt, guys, I keep a little set of pliers. Nothing expensive. I think I bought these off Amazon for $10 just to pop hooks. You're gonna snag fish. It's just the nature of what we do. You know, when they slide up on the beach, just reach down with a good set of pliers. Boom, pick that hook, give them a little scoot, kick them
You
back in.
snag it, do not keep it, because you are being watched.
That was the next thing. Well, I got that on the list. This is my bleeding knife, I guess you could call it. My gill cutting knife. I keep it right on my waist. You don't have to have anything like this if you don't want, but you need something to cut gills.
Don't try carrying that on either.
Yeah, don't do that. But I'll tell you this, Sean is notorious for this, and we both ended up going to this because I did it as well. You get in a real, almost a hurry because the fish are coming in and you're anxious. So you guys seen the videos where we bonk the fish and we bleed them. Sometimes you're like, oh, I'll just reach in there with my finger and rip those gills out. The first day, you're all right, maybe the second day, but by the third day, your ring finger is raw. Because they've got little, I wouldn't even call them teeth, but they're a little pokey on their gills, and my goodness, it'll rip your finger raw. Use a knife. Packs. I really like this sling pack from Orvis. I've gone through about 15 different packs. I've settled in on this one. I really like it. But you need to have something to keep your stuff on you. This one's got space for a water bottle. I can put my flies and my leader and a sandwich or whatever it is for the day in here. And normally, as a guide, I also carry a backpack because I've got extra gear and different things for the guys.
Food and whatever.
Yeah, so
Toilet paper.
yeah. Oh, speaking of toilet paper, Sean, you'll be happy I'm doing this one for you. You guys ever seen these?
No.
That's a napkin.
Cool.
You put that thing in water. You can even just spit on it almost. But you start pulling this open. Kind of harder than.
Usually you just get it wet.
Yeah. Got any water over there?
I got some in my car.
Yeah, don't sweat it. But anyway, this thing will expand about this big. Okay. Great toilet paper in a pinch. As an emergency, it's way better to have a couple of these versus anything else. Just so you know. And you can get these on Amazon. They're like towel pellets or something like that. You'll find them. So, okay, moving along. Sean and I will always have a Garmin inReach with a subscription. So we can do, it's got an SOS on the side. So if something was like to happen to me, you guys could pull this off of me, open this up, hit the SOS. A question's going to come across the screen saying, "Are you requesting emergency services?" You hit yes. Coast Guard's on the way immediately, and the Coast Guard is right there, based in Kodiak. So that's a really nice safety feature. This also does texting. It will link to my phone, so if we need to text anybody anywhere, we can get information back and forth. So this will always be with Sean or I, okay? And if you guys want to have one there too, great. I'd love that. Your reels, make sure they're matched to your rods, okay? Most of your rods should be 8-weight. That's what we fish for the salmon up there. I think this is a 7/8 reel. So, does it have to be the most fancy thing in the world? No. Especially if it's something you're not going to fish at home and you're going to fish repetitively. Don't go overboard. It'll work.
How about mine?
What do you got?
Just wait forward, 8-weight.
Wait forward, 8-weight. Good. Did you buy it through Sean?
Oh, I haven't bought it yet.
Okay, you haven't bought it yet. So yeah, your rod you want to wait for 8-weight. You said line.
Yeah.
Weight forward, 8-weight. You can even overline if you want. It helps cast a little bit.
Get a 9-weight.
You can go to a 9-weight if you feel like you want to do that. Most areas we're not casting extremely far, but there are certain circumstances where it would be nice to have that. Okay. So, but just a floating weight forward, it suffices. Sean does like a sinking. I don't. They're harder to pick up out of the water. If you're fishing deep holes and you need to get deep, just make your leader a little bit longer. That's what I prefer to do. So
And we actually, one of the rivers we walked out, we caught more fish out on the ocean than we did on the river, and that's when you had a little bit further
yeah.
cast out. So.
And I hope we get that this year. My very first year we went to Kodiak, on the pillar, we had, you can go right down to the ocean. And I took my son that year, Riley, that was the first year he ever went, and he was casting spinners and just hammer them off the ocean. And we were catching them with flies, and you didn't even have to go into the river. They were all just piled there at the mouths of the.
And if you think a fish fight's hard in the river, wait until you catch one in the
Yeah, it's
ocean.
fun because, I mean, that fish takes off.
drag it this way.
By the second you have that fish hooked, it's beyond that dugout over there. That's close. I mean, it's just like, zoom, he gone. I mean, if you're fighting a fish in those types of areas, be mindful if the guy next to you catches a fish. He's probably going to run across you, and just get out of the way.
I had one take me all the way out, and my backing was almost gone, and I was afraid it might break my whole thing off, so I just held up, busted my fly off, but I couldn't stop
Yeah.
him. I have no idea how big he was. That's the
That
ocean.
makes for a big story.
It does.
Yeah,
Big fish stories.
probably hooked him in the tail. I don't know. He just kept going, never stopped.
All right, guys, down here. So here's just a quick assortment of flies. I've got a ton of different ones. These ones were tied by Orion Smith. He tied a bunch of different ones. You got your popsicle style flies. These are good flossing flies. The silvers, when they're really aggressive, they'll eat those. Just some little cone heads. You'll notice bright colors: purple, pink, chartreuse, white. I don't know why. I call them like little
I
girls.
think they think they're
like
shrimp.
flashy, bright things.
I think they're shrimp, I think.
Yeah.
Can I get you to just go back a minute? I looked up flossing, and looked up on your
Correct.
video, etc. I mean, one of the things it's the saying is it doesn't matter what fly you've got on you.
Yeah, when you're flossing, it doesn't matter.
So what? So when we're using this, we're not flossing. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Can you explain when you'd use that versus flossing?
So when the fish are coming in on the incoming tide, those fish are going to be your most aggressive.
Yeah.
They're excited. You got that fresh water mixing with the salt water. They're coming in. They're jumping. It's a spectacle. It's so fun to watch. They're like little teenagers. They can't control their excitement. That's when you're going to catch your fish on your spinners, on your wiggle bugs, stripping clousers as fast as you can. I mean, you'll catch that. You'll cast your big wiggle bug out there, and you're doing your strip, and you got it going, and you'll see a wake coming from like 15 feet away. And your excitement is so high that as soon as you see that fish open its mouth, you're going to pull the fly right out of it. Trust me, I do it all the time. But that's when you're going to be fishing that type of stuff. When you go to flossing is when it's low tide. You see the fish out in front of you.
Pockets.
They're literally motionless, and they're just kind of chilling. That's when you're going to have, don't get me wrong, I'm going to do everything I can to get those fish to chase and eat. But after 7-8 years in Kodiak, I can count on maybe my hands and my toes how many fish I've had eat my fly at a stagnant low tide situation. But these right here, these twitching jigs, remember I was telling you the fish you can't see are usually the ones that are most aggressive because they don't know you're there. This is a new technique that I've been using, and in the deep holes, when everything's low tide and not moving around, these have 1/4 to 3/8 ounce heads on them. You pitch those out in those holes, they sink, and you get to work in those. Did you guys, any of you watch a video kind of like I was suggesting on YouTube regarding twitching?
No.
So get on YouTube and look. It's called Twitching for Coho. Okay, and you pitch that up there with the current, and you pop it, and you let it drift down with the current. And you pop it and let it drift, and you pop and let it drift. But you're working it in the lower column of the water, to the fish who cannot see you.
You're just jigging for them.
You're just jigging. It's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, when it's good, it's good. I've walked in on the corner of the Buskin, where you know how it is. There's usually a bunch of people there, and nobody's catching fish, and they've got that big
Deep
corner,
hole.
and I'll throw that thing out there, boom, 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 fish on, and everybody's just like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. So they're great. They're called twitching jigs. They're best fished on.
Where do you buy those?
Big Ray's has them.
Okay.
And then I buy them online before I leave, but anyone has them.
Do they have them here in at Cabela's or?
They might not.
I'd try
have
the
them.
fly shop up in Orem. Fly food.
Yeah, but
Or just-
again, same coloration.
Sorry.
Purples, pinks, blues, chartreuse, white, black's good. But it's really fun. It usually won't hit it on the up jig, but as soon as you let it drop, as soon as you pick it up, he'll be there. That's usually they're hitting it on the downstroke.
So what fly are you using when you're flossing? Are you,
I'm using a size 4 Clouser minnow. That's my favorite. Why? Because I can see it. Because let's be honest, flossing
I think mine are a little bigger.
Flossing can be done legally. And this kind of leads me to the next thing, guys. We obey the law, okay? Sean and I go to great lengths to maintain a really good relationship with Fish and Game. In the past, we've had a few incidents that have that I don't ever want to repeat. But we really try hard to, when the Fish and Game approaches us and Paul says, hey, I'm with Randy and Sean, they say, good. I know you guys are obeying the law. I know you're doing what you're supposed to do. Because you guys are going to notice there's a lot of people in there intentionally snagging salmon,
They're slappers.
ripping them on the bank. And I don't even care if they're slapping, because you're going to see the Filipino guys in there. They're the fish cutters. They're phenomenal fishermen. They know what they're doing. But man, they're running down, following that salmon till they get in front of them, but they're getting them in the mouth. And even though they're slapping, they're still doing the same thing as you as far as flossing. I like to use this because your mouth is a salmon, okay? I'm over here. When I know that line's coming down and I watch that fly disappear right there, guess what? I know it's time to sweep and try to get that hook set. And it helps. It helps a lot.
So on a typical day, how much of the time are you flossing versus, you know, fishing with one of these?
I hope it's no more than 50-50. Because
This sounds
flossing
lot
is a
more-
reality of Alaska fishing anymore. I hate it, but it's a reality. If you do it right and you do it skillfully, it can be a lot of fun. But I hate to say this, but the guy that's just sitting out there just ripping that hook, just hoping to snag any salmon he can, I don't think really highly of that person. You know what I mean? Try to do it right. Make it sporting. You'll get your fish, don't worry. Eventually we're gonna get the fish. And if there's a time period where the fish are completely dormant, just enjoy the scenery and fish. Yes, Paul.
So, my experience, because we've had different people in our groups, don't be the person in the group that holds everybody else out and you miss the tides coming in because they don't want to get out of bed. You want to catch them on everything and not have to floss. Be out there at the time that you need to be there. We've had experiences happen where that really sucked.
Yeah.
And so no one's ever said anything there. We all just dealt with it. So I'm going to say it here because I don't know if I'm fishing with any of you. Just don't be that person.
Yeah.
If you got to be out there by 6,
And every
be ready
day,
to go by 5:30.
every day the tides change, guys. Tide times. You get 2 tides typically in a day. Ideally, you got a tide at 8 o'clock in the morning. You got a tide at 7 o'clock at night.
In our group, if you're not ready, we're leaving you.
But you want to be there on the incoming tide. And ideally, you want to be there 4 hours ahead of the incoming tide. That way you have more than enough time. Get in there, hike to where you want to be, hike to the better holes, and then you watch that tide come in. And
On a fog neck, it's not such a big deal.
Yeah.
We're typically the only ones there when we're having to fish the river road systems or whatever you call it.
Yep.
Just, yeah.
Well,
Do
and
it.
this is why we've kind of tailored the trip the way we have over the last couple of years. We've gone away from fishing a lot of the local rivers in Kodiak because they're busy. There's lots of people. There's tons of competition, and the fish are absolutely pounded to death. So
And if you're fishing that, you want to be there the first one in the
Yeah.
morning because the fish will be, even if, no matter what the tide is,
You know,
want to be there before light.
we'll go to
and
Pasag Shack, and we'll be there at low tide, before the tide even starts to turn. You know, you're 5 hours ahead of high tide. But guess what? You get in there, you get your spot, have fun, relax, sit down, enjoy the beauty, wait for that tide to come in, and yeah.
You speak to the weights for the flossing on the video. There were I saw just the regular split shot, but he was
Sean
was
likes
showing
that size.
he was showing like a bullet shape or a long skinny one.
I like the pinch. I wouldn't go with anything but pinches.
Okay.
You guys ever heard of tippet rings? It's kind of a new thing in the fly fishing world. No. So they're little microscopic welded rings. Not microscopic, but they're small. And you just tie your tippet section to that. And it slides through your guides and everything. But it's really nice because you can pinch your weights above that and they can never slide below it.
do you
That's the-
use weights that much if you're flossing with these?
Well, when you're flossing, ideally, you want to wait, like I like this size myself.
Baby.
A little bit larger than an actual BB. I don't know the actual given. But ideally, you want a weight that mimics the same weight as your fly. Because you want them to sink at consistent rates in the water. So when Tim, Mr. Salmon's going like this, and that line comes across his face, it's horizontal with the bottom of the lake. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you're just using a fly alone, and I used to do this a lot, and Sean thought I was crazy, and I've started going to more of a weight system. You can go with just a fly, and watch the fly, you know, and try to get them in the mouth. But it is a lot more effective to imagine the line between here. The line goes in that fish's mouth, slide sideways, hook them like that. So that's why you want your weights to mimic the same weight as your fly.
That video we had ahead of that, there's quite a big weight on your video.
Yeah, it's very conditional on the river and the water
fast it
conditions at the time. Exactly.
Deep, fast river, heavier weight.
Yep, exactly. So, where did I put my list? Hopefully that covers most of the gear questions.
What about bear spray? They still have it up there?
Yes, we've got a ton. You
That's
can't
what
take
I
it
said,
on
don't-
airplanes
yeah, don't
anyways.
buy it here.
We can take it on the float planes, but you have to throw it into the floats. They don't keep them in the plane because they've had instances where they've ruptured. That wouldn't be good. Okay, so blah 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 blah. Oh, hook sharpeners. Along with all these little tools, hook sharpeners are a really nice thing to have.
No, they're a must.
Must.
You shouldn't
Yes.
say.
Must.
I mean, you gotta. That was mine. I lost 2 in the river, and I was done for the day. You hit the bottom of the rocks, and you can't keep the hook in the.
Yeah.
You can't get it to enter. It's just like, I was so ticked. Sean gave me one of his, and I lost it. I'm like, how the heck do I keep losing these? But
Get a
They
hook
are-
sharpener.
That are a whole bunch of flies.
Yeah. 20-pound minimum on your leaders. You can start with a tapered leader if you want. I would maintain about 6 feet of that tapered leader and then keep replacing that bottom 3. Okay, that's where that tippet ring comes in place. I'll use a tapered leader, I'll cut the bottom 3 off, I'll tie that tippet ring in, and then I'll tie my tippet back onto that, and that way I can just keep replacing that lower section. As far as a different distance between my fly and my weights, I'm going roughly 18 to 24 inches. 24 inches is a good rule of thumb between your
I
weight.
thought those tippet rings were too small for 20-pound test. I've never tried that with
So
20 pound.
they make these oval tippet rings now
Okay.
that are a 35-pound test.
Okay.
And
I know the ones I'm using around here are the little teeny things that
yeah,
I
they
couldn't.
make ones that are a little bit bigger than that one.
Okay, I need to go get some new ones.
But even still, it's so convenient to not have to cut line, and you're tying all your double unis and your blood knots and all that kind of stuff. But get you a roll of 20-pound fluorocarbon, guys. If you feel comfortable, if you feel like you're maybe a little more aggressive, go get a 25-pound roll of fluorocarbon. The fish don't care. They are not line shy at all. Okay, so okay, rolling really quick. You want to go sit down, or we like being right here? Let's go sit down. Did everybody get
Anybody's
some
got
donuts
any
and stuff?
questions? This is what Sean give my boy.
Did everybody get some
Yeah.
snacks
Any-
and donuts? I'm gonna get a little chocolate milk.
You're
here.
buying. You're buying milk and cookies and donuts and
Okay, so fish limits.
muffins.
Road system. Road system rivers are anything that is within the Kodiak main highway. If you're fishing off the highway in Kodiak, it's 2 fish per person. Some rivers have special regulations. Some rivers have emergency orders to where they'll kick it up. Some of them they'll kick it off. We've had years where they just come out one night and say, hey, the buskin's closed. You can't fish the buskin anymore. We have to abide and follow by these.
After you catch your 2 fish, can you catch and release?
Yes,
Okay.
yes you can. Catching fish, by the way. Stringers. I didn't bring a stringer. We've got a bunch in Kodiak, but if you have some, bring them. Don't get no little teeny braided trout line stringer, okay? Get you something that's 4 or 5 feet long, a little bit heavier rope. Get you a nice stringer to keep your fish with you.
Rope, not the hook kind.
Yeah, with a little welded ring on the bottom, you know. Zip it through. I need to back up. I neglected one item that Sean has here as far as groups. Yeah. Food. Food is a joint effort. We can go out to restaurants at night if everybody wants to do that. You can split up and go to the restaurant. Some guys can stay in. But usually that first night when we get there, we hit up the grocery store, load up a little bit. Most, $50 to $75 a person pretty much gets you most of your food for the week. Unless you start going out to restaurants and stuff.
So we're flying in on Sunday and flying out to Fognak Monday morning. We're gonna have to go as soon as we get there. Go get grocery shop.
Exactly. And we're gonna have tubs, so we'll throw all of our food in. That first group, I don't know who the very
That's
first group
us.
is. Yeah, it's you. You're flying in the very first group. You guys are gonna be taking a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause
Probably
you've got to
taking
load
that.
the cabin up for everybody. We take as much water as we can on every single flight. Last year, I think we left 8 cases of water in the cabin. I don't care, somebody else can use it. But you got to get a bunch of stuff in there. So yes, preparations will be made on your Sunday evening to make sure you guys get enough stuff.
Will you be there?
Nope, I fly in on the 26th.
So we'll be relying on Sean.
Yep. So you guys got to get.
I'm teasing Sean.
You got to get the inflatable raft disassembled, packed up. Yeah. When are you flying in?
We're flying in Sunday before we go out to Fognak on Monday.
Sean's gonna need some help. You might want to think about flying in a couple days early.
Well,
Talk to Sean if you could do it.
he wants to
'Cause
change my flight. I
You've got to
can't.
get the raft because they're blown up. We store them blown up. You got to get them deflated, packed, down to the float dock, everything there, and then when you hit the ground, you've got to inflate, reconstruct, motor, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
It's a process, but it's just part of it.
Yeah.
Sean knows. But we'll just know the food is a group effort. When you hit the ground, you just go shopping, load up for the
He doesn't seem to be worried about it. He said he'll have everything ready to go by
He's
the
going to
time
be
we
there,
get
I
there.
think, Tuesday or Wednesday, so
Yeah.
he should have
He
it.
probably has some help over there.
Main thing we brought was breakfast.
Yes.
We buy just like, GBD sausage, because they have a microwave, small pancakes you can cook in a toaster. Nothing
At the cabin, we take propane tanks with us, and they have propane lanterns in the cabin and a propane stove. And so you can heat up water. We've got the jet boil, so you can do like oatmeals and freeze-dried meals in the mornings if you want. We take stuff for sandwiches, and then usually we have a nice salmon dinner every night. We just cook up some
So if
fresh
we've
salmon.
got freeze-dried meals already, we could take those for our.
Yep, that's a great choice.
Still don't wear plastic.
Bring freeze-dried meals for the.
We'll have all that.
That'll be there.
Yeah, we kind of just
Yeah,
go
it'd
to
be a
the
lot
store
cheaper.
and get a bunch of that and take it up, and it's there. If it gets low, we'll take more.
Did you hear that, Mark?
What's that?
Let's take our own freeze-dried meals for that 3 days. For that.
Yeah, we have one guy comes up with us every year. He knows who he is. He freeze dries his own meals,
Yeah.
and he has a freeze dryer at home and stuff. Last year we got stranded at the cabin for how many days was that? 3 or 4?
I heard it was 3.
And he had freeze-dried peaches, freeze-dried apples. I was like, you're my savior, man. It was so nice. Anyway. Okay, fish limits. 2 on the road system, 5 in a Fognak. Okay? So, when Fognak's going, you can load up a freezer really, really fast. Okay? Play by the rules. We already talked about it. If your fish is snagged, let it go. Don't.
expensive if you get
It's
caught.
not worth it. Even if you snag a fish real close, you're on the back of the head or you're really close. Okay, get the fish out, take a great picture, put the memory in your memory bank, let them go. You'll get one in the mouth later you can take home for dinner. Okay? Licenses have to be with you all the time, especially on your halibut trip. Okay? The halibut trip, they have records that they have to keep every single morning, and they fill out your information. You can keep your licenses on your phone. do this. Take a screenshot of your fishing license on your phone, because you can always access your photo reel and you can show the fishing game your license via photo. Have your backup paper license. It's always good to put it in a Ziploc bag, throw it in the bottom of your pack so it's always there, but they will accept the license off your phone. Okay, we had a guy last year, he actually got a ticket because he forgot his license and he didn't take a picture of it. So we're out at a Fognac, and well, we were at a different lake called Laura Lake, and the guy flies in. They fly around in a plane. He comes in, super nice guy, and he's like, hey, everybody show me your licenses. We all show him, and the other guy's sitting there going, uh-oh, it won't load, it won't load, it won't load. And the fishing game cop, he was a really nice guy. He's like, hey, I believe you. I'm gonna write you a fix-it ticket, basically. So as soon as we hit the ground back in Kodiak, he had to call the officer and send that picture to him and prove that he had his license, and he wiped it clean. But have your licenses on you.
Buy a good sleeve and put your phone in, because if you go in the water, it's gone. That's what happened to me. All your
It happens.
everything.
Say that again.
Buy a good sleeve,
Oh,
put your phone in.
waterproof
it's
sleeve.
sealed.
I see.
Like it says, I went in, water went in my sleeve, and my phone was gone.
So the fishing game up there are really good people. They're not there to cause problems, but there are a lot of people that are trying to circumvent the laws. So they go to pretty great lengths to catch those type of people. We're not those people. But just know, Joe Schmo that's sitting next to you that looks just like you in fishing waders and nice gear, it could be fishing game. Okay? Just so you know.
They will sit on the van with the
Yep.
binoculars and watch it.
Be respectful of them. Just treat them like you would like to be treated. Has everybody filled out your liability forms on the website? Okay. If you've not, make sure you get on the website. There's a link to the liability. Make sure you get on there, sign it, get everything taken care of there. Simple. Okay, we've kind of done that. If you guys do need extra gear, Big Ray's is close by. Big Ray's is the local sportsman's warehouse, if you will. They've got pretty much everything you'll need. Okay, don't plan on them having all your spinners and all this, because there's about 20 more guys just like you lined up behind you. You know what I mean? So I don't really rely on them for all my major purchases, but if I need something in a pinch, I can usually find it there. Encourage guys to take good photos. Paul, how should you hold your phone when you take a picture? Horizontal. Sean does some great videos, you guys. I've got to the point where I look forward to them at the end of the year. I like them a lot. But he does them in a horizontal format. So if you're holding your phone vertical, he can make it work, but you have to go and change all sorts of stuff. So when you're taking nice photos, turn your phone sideways. Sean appreciates that. We talked about the credit card. Do you guys have, most of you have smartphones, get the Alaska Airlines app, upload your flight itinerary to it, and you can go in there a couple days in advance before your flight, and you can change seats if they're available. So just you can make small adjustments.
with our flight.
You can order a meal.
minimum
I usually order a meal between the flight from Seattle to Anchorage, because it always seems to be right at lunchtime and I'm starving. I don't know, some of you might have the direct flight. I don't know if you do or not. Most of us go to Seattle and then to Anchorage. So I like to do a couple days in advance, get on there. The Alaska Airlines cheese tray is a nice one. I like that thing.
Is that when you get your e-ticket on your phone?
Yeah.
A couple of days before?
Yeah, and you can even check in through your phone. You just walk up to the counter and show them your phone, and away you go. We already covered the Discover Bay stuff. We covered fish processing. Any other additional questions regarding fish processing and getting fish home?
Well, I don't know if these guys know it, every day you take your fish in and then you'll set up an account.
Yeah.
And they will save your, supposedly
Oh
save
man,
your
I'm
fish.
so glad you said that, man.
You fillet them before you take them?
No, you walk into the fish crossing, whole fish, don't clean them, nothing, you just drop them off there, they will put them under your name. And then when you get done, you can take them in every day, you'll take your halibut in, your king, whatever, and they will process it for you, then when you get ready to go home, they'll be in a freeze bag box, you just pick them up, put
But-
them in your car, pay them, and you're gone.
When you're on the charter, you don't have to take it to the processor. They just pick them up
So
and
let's
haul them
start
over.
from the beginning. So you just
Sorry.
caught up. No, I'm glad because you hit on something I totally forgot to say, and this is critical. Let's start from the beginning. You just caught your first silver salmon. You just drug it on the bank. Okay. So the first thing you're gonna do, you don't need to gut it. You cut the gills. Cut the gills and bleed it out. And the way you bleed it out is cut the gills while it's still alive, you guys. Okay? Because the quality of the salmon depends on this. Slice your gills on both sides, get that fish out in the water, shake him, shake his tail, and you'll watch that blood just pump out of there. Okay, that helps preserve
It's a good bear
the meat.
attractor too, you know.
Yeah, it brings the bears in. We like that.
They won't
Um,
you.
And
You can run fast.
then your stringer comes in. Put your fish on the stringer. Keep the fish in the water. Okay, the water is number one going to keep your scent down. But don't act like I'm saying the bears are going to come running after you. It happens, but not that often. Did you guys ever see that? Well, you saw the video on that my buddy Taylor posted on the Fishing for Friends page.
Oh, yeah, running with the fish and everything.
That's the river we fish. That's the river we fish. I've fished around that bear I don't know how many times. We all have. But it's one thing to take off running. You know, don't sweat it. They're so used to us. They're so used to us. Okay, you got your fish on a stringer. Keep them in the water. Number one, keeps the scent down, but number two, keeps them cold. The water there is always, maybe 42 degrees, 45 degrees at the most. Okay, so it preserves the fish well. We will have big coolers in the back of the vans with ice. So when you're done, plop your fish on the ice. We head straight to the processor. When we get to the processor, we dump the fish off. This is where things can get tricky. Guys, the more we plan ahead of time with the processor, the better we are. These processors have hundreds of people dropping off fish a day. They do the best they can, but it's not perfect. So trust me, we're gonna jump through some hoops. There's gonna be a little bit of heartache, but the more preparation we do, the better. Each group, is everybody planning on sharing your fish evenly amongst your group?
That's the way it works, man.
Yes,
Yes,
Yes?
it's way funner.
Okay.
it's so.
I don't care if I catch more fish.
Because
than
Gary's
you.
a terrible fisherman. You're gonna outfish him every day, so you're gonna need to fill his freezer. Okay? But no, in all reality, guys,
I don't
some guys
care.
in your group aren't gonna catch as many fish. Some are gonna catch it. Some are really gonna kind of catch on to the whole thing, and you're gonna be like, I hate you. But hey, guess what? He's filling your freezer. Okay, you know what I mean? So, what I highly suggest, one name per group. So, Gonzalez. Okay? So when you go in to turn in your fish, Gonzalez.
We're not using heating for our group.
Yeah, they'll spit on your fish when they put it in the bag. No, they wouldn't. So at the end of the week, when we go in Friday evening before they close, we usually go about an hour before they close. We get all your fish prepped, and then guess what? In the cooler, you got all these boxes that say Gonzalez, 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 Gonzalez. You pull them all out. How many guys are in your group? 6?
Oh, just 3 of us.
3. So 3 of you guys. You put 3 boxes out, and you start divvying it into the boxes evenly. King, halibut, halibut, halibut.
Everything we got is already pre-packed.
Well, I've kind of fixed
That
this.
sucked because
I've fixed
somebody
this.
got a lot more salmon and
That's
a lot
exactly
less
right.
halibut. So, yeah, it'd be
Sean and
a lot
I have
better
worked
than-
tirelessly to simplify this, and we're starting to load our own boxes now. We just tell them, hey, you just keep all of our fish massed together. We'll split it up into the boxes. So,
You see, you'll have rockfish, you'll have sea cod, you know.
Yep.
You're gonna have a lot of when you're out there, so. You know, if you don't want any sea cod, maybe he wants more.
Yep.
It's all good.
I
So-
assume when you're on a fognack, you're filleting the fish.
Yes, we
Is it
fillet.
for weight. You can
So I'll touch on that real quick. So we hurry and rip the fillets off in a fognack. We rinse them off in the ocean, get as much moisture off as we can, and then we put them in black bags, and then we put them in dry bags, big dry bags. And there's a little pool right next to the cabin that's like a seep that comes off the mountain of cold water, and we just throw the bags in there. It's like
and the bears aren't going to get them
they
out.
don't, they don't,
They
never
don't
have
like,
them mess
they
with
don't
them.
like dead fish. All they eat is islands.
Well, trust me, we get a lot of those bears and seals coming on the bank at night, eating all of the carcasses we leave.
Or the fish that you're waiting just for the float plane to show up and your whole stringer's gone.
Tell that story.
Oh,
Who was in charge of that stringer?
Sean!
Sean, you're getting it today, aren't you?
No, we kept looking out there and saw it's there, and 5 minutes later you look out and it's gone. It is gone.
A
There was
s-
20 fish that it took.
A seal had come
Oh,
up
seal?
and grabbed that stringer and took off with it. That seal ate good that day.
We weren't happy. It's like, ah. That's all
Well,
right.
you can go back and catch some more fish.
Okay, so back to processing. So when you go in, your core group of dudes, one name. That name corresponds to the day you come in off the charter, corresponds to everything. Charters, we've tried really, really hard to book charters with us only. Last year we had a problem where we were a mixed group and we had people we didn't know. They flew home on Thursday, we flew home on Saturday. They took a ton of our fish home with them. And I had to beg Ruben and Chris at the processor to dip in their own personal stock to resupply these other guys, which he did, and I was super grateful for. But ideally, we're trying to keep only us on a charter boat. That way that fish can evenly be distributed after. It might be the Gonzalez and the Timbuktu group, at least, but you know you're all together. So when it comes time to do divvying it out, we can make sure it all works. So that's important. We're almost done, guys. We're rolling. Half this stuff we talked about, so I'm just skipping over it.
This is an hour and 2 minutes on here.
Oh, perfect. At the processor, if you want your salmon bellies, you can tell them. Sean loves his salmon bellies. Usually, when they keep the salmon belly on either way, but you can have them cut them off separate and save them. I think it's just best to keep them on the whole fillet. Is anybody planning on bringing a gun? Okay, I don't think you need to. We haven't had any issues that way. Bear spray seems to suffice. I like to keep an air horn and a whistle on me. If I'm out on a fognack and I notice that there's a lot of bears and it's a little bit overbearing, I have a local guy that I have borrowed a shotgun from before, just for extra protection, just to be safe. But never even come close to needing to use it. So don't worry about it. As far as the videos, we talked about using your phones in the horizontal aspect. Take lots of pictures.
I should have been videoing this in horizontal.
Yeah, we screwed up on that. No. It's fine on Facebook. Take a ton of pictures, you guys. You got your phone, it's unlimited. It's all memories. I can't tell you. I'm a fishing guide by trade. That's what I do. I'm a fishing guide at Flaming Gorge. Guys, I show pictures of Kodiak to my people at least every day.
And if you want to learn how to take good pictures, go look at pictures of fish that Randy is in the picture.
Good
He,
idea.
he knows how to hold the fish,
Here, I'll
and the
do it.
photographer knows how to.
So,
I mean, it's so many people don't hold the fish right, and you get home and your fish
here's my
pictures
fish,
suck.
you guys. Here's my fish. Okay? Bad. Okay? Bad. Why? Can't even see the fish. Bad. Better. Okay, so horrible, bad, better, best. See how I pull my fingers back? Showcase the fish. I'm not saying to do the old long arm, make it look like a giant. Get them off your chest, get your fingers out of the way. The fish is dead by this point. You should have bonked him. So
Yeah.
you shouldn't be jumping. Just get your hands under him, hold him off your chest a little bit. You can kind of point him at the camera, you know. Another thing too, if you got a backdrop that's totally obscure and dark, that's not always the best either. So let's say the trees are right behind me, okay? I'd come over here downriver, you know, so you got nice light behind you, so the fish looks good. But you will look back on your picture and say, oh man, that was a great fish, but that picture sucks. I wish I got a better picture of that one. So don't be afraid to take some time and get the good pictures.
Randy, oh, can I ask a question?
Go.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but out there at the cabin, there's no electricity.
No electricity.
So you got to keep that phone charged.
Where did I see it? Right here. Anchor makes some really nice
Anchor?
battery pack. A-N-K-E-R. You can get them at Walmart. $75, if that. So I bought one that's a brick. It's this big. I think I could charge my phone like 20 times on it.
But when you're out at the Fognak, keep your phone on
Go on
airplane
airplane.
mode,
Go
because
on
then
airplane, it'll last for 3 days.
yeah.
The Patriot makes some their solar rechargeable.
And I will always have one of these as well to make sure I keep my GPS charged up, because that's our lifeline. I want to jump back to pictures. I took the best picture I've ever taken in Kodiak. The man is sitting right there. Was that not the best picture ever? We were on Passag Shack and we had a week, didn't we? It was.
We had tons of rain.
It was, and Jenny got sick on us. Or was that the week before? Was Jenny there the week you were there? Or was that the week before?
I was there when the lady that had
Yeah, she got COVID.
COVID.
And I ended up with COVID the next week, and my wife was coming. Yeah. We just went through the ringer. It was rough. And Ron had lost some fish through the week, and it rained super hard. Well, we had the absolute heavens open up on us. Passag Shack River, beautiful skies, and the fish were running. Oh my gosh, were they running?
They were running fast.
It was unreal.
It was hard
To target one,
lost.
because there were so many.
Well, they were running so fast.
And it was low. They were coming in on low tide. Well, I got this picture of Ron. It's a really kind of beachy area, and I'm up on the rocks kind of looking down at him almost, and the river's behind him, and the sun's shining on the fish. And
Show us the
Ron's got
picture.
a smile. I'll find that picture right now.
I'm pretty sure it's still his profile.
Oh, it better be.
For sure.
That was in 22. 22? 21.
But anyway, back to clothes. I take 2 hats. I take a ball hat, and I take a big brimmed hat that's got the back, and they're both waterproof. So they dry fast if they get wet. So
I agree. Hats are important. Right there, you guys. Look at that specimen of a human being. Look at his face. I mean, come on. Just pass that around. I loved it. I mean, you could just see the excitement in his face, you know. He needed that. So,
The sun was behind you,
yeah, the
Shining.
sun was right on the fish.
behind you, shining
Yeah,
onto
don't
the
take
fish.
pictures into the sun, you guys. You're just gonna get that sunburst, and it's gonna drown you out. Just know, especially when we're fishing the Kodiak rivers locally, you're gonna be fishing around other people. It's just the nature of what we're doing. That's why we go to a Fognak, is to get away.
Better to make friends with them than to fight with them.
Yeah, don't, you know.
Some old guy's not catching any fish. Give him a hand. Help
Oh
him
yeah,
out.
we've made some great friends over the years that way.
I can't remember where we went, but it was down on that way out of town. It seems like a kind of a cement channel. We had them jumping on the bank. The fish was actually jumping out of the water and onto the bank.
Wow.
Patrick and Sean's boy caught it.
Um,
Rainy day.
So So yeah, be kind and helpful to people around you. Make friends, don't make enemies, because then it's just uncomfortable. You know, if people are dumb, just know people are dumb. Let it go, move on. Don't let it disrupt your joy and your excitement of being in Alaska. We talked about fighting or catching the silvers. The old boot and scoop, you know, you don't need nets for the most part. If your guy next to you catches a fish and he's dragging it in, and you see that fish is getting close to the bank, scoot out there and kick it up on bank for him, help him out. Most of your fish are lost right at the water's edge, you guys, because you get antsy and you're like, oh, he's here, and you start pulling and you rip that hook right out, okay? Don't stand there when he's there. Back up, back way up, pull that fish sideways, okay? You don't want to get your rod looking like this or you're going to break it.
Or you can even point it right at the fish.
Yeah, you can.
Put it right into drag it up the beach.
But when you get them close, when they're shallow enough that their bellies are hitting the rocks, it's time to scoot them up on the water. Don't think you're going to land a fish the first time he comes at the bank, because you ain't. He's probably going to rub his belly on the rocks 4 or 5 times before he comes in. But the first time he feels those bellies on those rocks on his belly, he's turning and running. So be ready. Okay? Don't hold the handle. Do not hold the handle when that fish starts coming. The second you feel that pressure, get your handle the heck out of it, or your hand the heck out of there. Trust me.
Bust your knuckles.
You will get knuckle busters, and I'm telling you, it
hurts.
leaves a welt. That sucker will be moving at 900 mile an hour, and it's just before you can get your hand off there, you've been hit 10 times. But it's kind of a rite of passage, so it'll happen. Cut the gills, fight the fish out. Don't think you're going to land him after 2 seconds. Let him play out. Let him get tired. Trust your hook set. Okay, very last thing we're going to go over, guys, unless you have more questions, are the houses. Okay? We rent local homes. I'm not saying this is a cheap Alaska trip, because it's not. I understand that. But in terms of Alaska, it's a cheap trip. And the way we do this is we don't have a monster lodge. We don't wine and dine you. We don't wipe your bum at night, okay? This is a guy's trip. Go have fun. We do it on a budget to try to get everybody the opportunity to just get to Alaska and enjoy it. Some of these homes, we try to get homes with as many beds as possible. Everybody should have their own bed, and if they don't, you're going to be on a cot. I'll even sleep on a couch if I have to.
slept on a couch last time.
You know, the couch at the Blue House is really comfortable. We no longer get the Blue House.
I don't know.
We have the Brown House, which has a lot of beds, and then we have a new home over by Walmart that it's a pretty nice little place as well. We have some mattresses and things to make sure everybody's comfortable, but just know that it's not
Hotel Hill.
It's not 5-star Ritz-Carlton. I apologize.
I thought it was pretty nice.
I know.
It had everything you needed.
It's fun. It's just everybody's together and you just have a really good time. But just be patient. If we have to jump through some hoops, we'll get through those.
Hey, did you say you have cooking facilities at the Fognac? You have a way to cook the salmon?
Yeah, we've got, there's a gas-fired grill top.
Okay. Because we want to eat fresh salmon on
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we'll take the stuff to do it. We'll take tinfoil. I mean, we've restocked that cabin over the years. We've thrown seasoning and tinfoil. I mean, we left so much stuff there. And we'll take more.
So how many meals do we need at the Fognac? So breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Typically 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, and 2 dinners. Kind of what we shoot for.
Just put 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches.
Yeah. Remember, these are Airbnbs that we have rented, so they are people's homes. So we really try to respect it because we want them to let us come back year after year. That's about it, guys.
Okay, I'm stopping.
Go
Video.
for it. Any